Hi everyone, this is Lina. Welcome to my YouTube tutorial channel. If you're new to my channel, hi and thanks for stopping by. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like and share with your friends if you want to see some more of my easy home crafts. So I've cut some cardboard pieces of the shape of a truck. So this is the top half of the truck. So you're going to need about 7 pieces in total. Now the thicker the cardboard the better it is, so if you're going to use the thin cardboard you're going to have to cut some more pieces out, but I'm going to be using 7 pieces in total for the front part of the truck. And then this will be classed as the rear and the axle of the truck, and you need 4 pieces in total. You need the arches for the rear and from the front, and again you're going to be needing 4 pieces of each. So I'm going to leave a template in the description box so that you can download the image and then print it off, and then you can then cut the pieces out. So what we're going to start doing is, you can use the hot glue gun, but I'm just going to use some white glue to just glue all my pieces of cardboard together. So that's the first set done, and I'm just going to leave that to one set to dry. And now I'm going to glue the rear, it's called the rear and axle of the truck, and I'm going to glue these pieces together. And now for this part you need to glue it in twos, so 2 lots, because one is going to the left side and then one will be glued to the right side. Just carry on watching the video and then it'll be clear to you how it's done. So I'm just going to glue 2 pieces together. So now we're going back to the first bit that we started gluing of the main bit of the truck, and I'm just going to use some masking tape and tape all around my cardboard. So as you can see, I'm just taping up all around the cardboard, and you're going to repeat this process and cover all your pieces that you glued down. So now all your pieces have been taped up. Now we're going to assemble them all, and by using some white glue, and again you can use hot glue gun, it's up to you, but I'm just using the white glue, and I'm just going to be gluing all my pieces together. And if you just follow along the video, and you can see how it's done. So you can see here that I'm gluing the rear, which is called the rear, and the axle on top of the main section of the truck, and make sure it's aligned. You can see there on the edge and at the bottom. So that's your first side done, and then you turn the truck over and you do the other side as well. So you can see here how it looks already with everything glued into place, and it's starting to take shape. Now we have our arches, and we're going to be gluing those on as well. So the larger pieces go at the front on the left and the right side of the truck, and the smaller arches go to the rear, which is the left and the right. So now you have all your pieces all glued down. We're going to make sure that everything is in place and leave that to one side to dry. And then you're just going to Mod Podge some toilet paper pieces onto the truck to give it a nice thick coat. So you can put as many layers as you want. I just went for about 2 layers, which will be enough. So this is how it should look after 1 and 2 layers of toilet paper Mod Podge onto your little truck, and we're just going to leave that for maybe a day, day and a half, depending on the weather where you are, to dry. Mine took about a day and a half, nearly 2 days to dry. So here you can see it's still wet and drying out, and then I'll later show you how it will look once the toilet paper has dried with the white glue. So this is how it looks once it's dried, and so that's the toilet paper and the white glue on there. So it does have a little bit of a bumpy finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some wool paste that you use to cover holes, and it's quite soft and it's like a putty, very soft putty, and it's in white. So this is optional, you don't have to do it, you can just go directly and paint if you want with acrylic paints, but this will give it a nice smooth finish. So I'm just going to cover my whole truck with this paste and then smooth it out. So if you carry on watching the video, I'll explain as I go along. And as you can see, I'm also using my fingers and a little damp cloth to just smooth out the paste that I've applied onto the red truck. So once you've finished pasting up your little red truck, what you're just going to leave it to dry for maybe a day or so, depending on the weather where you are. And then we're just going to give it a light sanding down, making sure we get rid of any excess and the little bumps, just to smooth out the paste that we've applied onto the truck. And here I'm just using the dry brush just to brush off any excess of the dust from the dry paste that we've used. And now we're ready to paint our little truck. So I'm using the red crimson acrylic color paint, but you can use any color that you want to match your decor. And as you can see here, I've started using the paint here and just applying it all over my truck except the wheels. So that's the red applied all over the truck. And next I'm going to be using black acrylic paint for the wheels. So this is the black acrylic paint that I will be using, but obviously you can use chalk paint or anything that you have to hand. So now I'm going to mix a brown acrylic paint and some black, and we just want a small amount, and you don't want too much paint on your brush, and we're just going to create some shadings to give it a 3D effect on our truck. You can also use some wax, dark wax, brown wax, to create this shading effect, and you want to place some around the arches, a little bit down the bumper, on the base of the truck, inside where the window goes, any areas that you think that need shading. That's where you're going to apply the dark wax or the brown color, and just blend it all in, and just keep stepping back and looking at it, making sure you've applied correctly. If you do make a mistake, you can always go back in with the red paint and cover up your mistakes. So this is how it should look once you've done all your shading. And next we're going to use some white acrylic paint, or you can use a white chalk pen to do this effect. So I'm just showing you both options. So if you have a steady hand, you can use the white acrylic paint and a really fine tip paintbrush, or you can use the chalk paint, which I'll show you in a little while. So this is like a white chalk paint that you can use. So if you don't have a steady hand, this might be better for you to draw out your little white lines. And if you just follow my video and you can see where you can place these little white lines, it just gives it a nice 3D effect to your truck. So I've made the little fence for the rear of my truck that goes on the sides, and I've just used some barbecue flat skewers. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a dark wax just to make it look more rustic. So here you can see I'm just gluing the little fence together, and you're going to make one for the left side and one for the right side. And here I'm just going to glue that in place. So you can see here how it looks, and then you're going to do one for the other side as well. So this is how the truck should look, and I've just gone over the white lines with a little bit of the dark wax just to dull the white slightly because it was a bit too bright. And then I'm just going to place some fern trees on the back of the truck. I didn't have any to hand, so I'm using some old Christmas tree branches that I had, and I'm just going to trim them into a point shape and make some little fern trees for the back of my truck. And this is how they look now, and now they're ready to be placed on the back of the truck. So my trees look a little bit bland, so I'm just going over with some white acrylic paint and just going to brush that gently over the stems just to give it a little bit of a snowy effect. Now you can add some moss at the bottom of the truck, and that will raise your tree slightly, and this is just to give you guys an idea. And I also made a little trailer which I hooked up with some little gold hooks onto the truck and to the trailer, but I will put that on a separate video to show you guys how I made that. This is just the first video of how I made this truck. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Why don't you give it a go? And I'll see you again on Lina's Home Creation for more easy crafts. Have a lovely time. Bye.